The Omicron variant of the coronavirus is spreading in the UK. After Freedom Day in July, there are now restrictions again. And the Prime Minister comes under double pressure, also from his own party this time. They thought they'd made it. In July, the British celebrated Freedom Day. All corona measures were lifted. Thanks to the vaccinations, the pandemic appeared to be over. And of course, the joy was great. 5 months later, the government of Prime Minister Boris Johnson reintroduced restrictions and met with considerable opposition, even from within its own party. In addition, a scandal surrounding a Christmas party threatens to massively shake people's trust in the government. But what's going on here? You might have seen my videos on this, but I give you a small recap. First of all, the truth is that the pandemic was never defeated in the UK. The number of infections has remained high since July. The 7-day incidence has never fallen below 200 since then and is currently only just below 500. In my hometown, it's still below 200, just saying. This is apparently also due to the fact that the Omicron variant is spreading rapidly in the country. It has become increasingly clear that Omicron is spreading much faster than the Delta variant, said Johnson on Wednesday at a press conference called at short notice. There, the head of government announced the activation of the so-called Plan B. The plan calls for an invitation to work from home. In addition, a mask requirement for theaters and other indoor spaces, as well as the requirement to present proof of immunity or a negative test result, a so-called COVID pass, is to be introduced when entering major events and nightclubs. The regulations are to come into effect gradually over the next 7 days. Johnson had long resisted the introduction of Plan B and initially only introduced softer measures such as the mask requirement in shops and public transport, as well as stricter entry restrictions. On Tuesday, 1 day before Johnson's press conference, Justice Minister Dominic Raab rejected stricter corona measures. He cited the successful vaccination program as the reason. Johnson announced last week that every adult should receive a booster vaccination by the end of January. For this, provisional vaccination centers should shoot out of the ground like Christmas trees. That's at least what the Prime Minister promised. But the new major vaccination campaign does not really want to pick up speed. The elderly care organization HUK recently described the program as chaos. The organization's director, Caroline Abrams, criticized in The Guardian the government for the fact that a fifth of nursing home residents had not yet received a booster vaccination. The number of vaccine doses administered was even lower over the past weekend in England than a week earlier. So now the change of course follows. In view of the numbers, the measures seem only logical. 568 Omicron cases in the country have already been confirmed by genome sequencing, according to Johnson's information. But the real number is probably much higher. King's College London epidemiologist Tim Spector confirms Johnson's fears. He assumes that the Omicron variant will spread rapidly. It is realistic to assume that there are already 1,000 to 2,000 cases in the country, he told the BBC, and he said, "We expect that to double every 2 days at the moment." That would lead to pretty high numbers within just 10 days. And geneticist Jeffrey Barrett told BBC Radio, "I think we can now say that the variant is spreading faster in the UK than the Delta variant, and that was not clear until very recently. I'm pretty sure it will likely become dominant within weeks." The numbers speak for themselves, but the introduction of the measures puts Johnson under double pressure. Ironically, there is headwind from his own Conservative Party. Some of the Tories do not at all agree with renewed restrictions. The MP Marcus Fish described the plans to introduce the COVID pass as a total shame. On BBC Radio, he announced that he would vote in Parliament against the new measures as they represent a massive attack on personal freedom. When Health Minister Sajid Javid announced the activation of Plan B in Parliament, he even had to struggle with heckling from his own parliamentary group. Some MPs do not see Johnson's change of course as an appropriate reaction to Omicron, but rather a game of negotiation. Namely, they believe that taking action is only meant to distract from a scandal that is currently causing Johnson to be quite messed up, so to speak. The so-called Partygate, I several times talked about, is about the allegation that Christmas parties were said to have taken place in the Prime Minister's seat of government, number 10 Downing Street, in December of last year, while the second corona wave was rolling across the country and strict contact restrictions were in force. The scandal began when a video by the then press secretary of Johnson became public, in which she joked with colleagues about how such a party could be justified. Johnson apologized for the video in Parliament, but denied that it had broken the rules. Nevertheless, he opened an internal investigation. The scandal damaged the government's credibility in fighting the pandemic. Experts express concern that the population may no longer adhere to government measures amid the rising threat of Omicron. Stephen Riker, a professor of psychology at St. Andrews University, told The Guardian it needed a government that would lead the people. A government that we see as dishonest and a liar is not the government that we need right now. I only can agree with that one, but that's not new. Some politicians of the opposition Labour Party are even calling for Johnson's resignation if it turns out that the head of government has lied about the Christmas celebrations. Well, he didn't step down for other lies, so why should he now? A party that does not want to follow him unanimously in the fight against the Omicron variant, and a scandal that could finally destroy the people's trust in the government. Well, Johnson is faced with a twofold dilemma here. Whether he can just sit out this political storm, as he has done several times in the past, this time this remains to be seen. And by the way, from today on, I will start talking about German politics again. I did this in the beginning on my first channel when I still wildly mixed topics. But today at noon, my German politics channel started. I think it's time to finally tell my international viewers a little bit more about politics in my home country. This is then, of course, not a view from the outside, hence the slightly different channel name, but there I have a more well-founded view from the inside, so to speak. As most of you know, I've been a volunteer in politics for a long time and have a lot of experience. Right now I'm a district councillor, deputy district mayor and local party chairman. And the fact that the new German government has been in office since this week is interesting too. With their parliamentary majority, however, they had already decided on changes in the fight against corona, which had to be corrected again this week. I'm looking forward to see the work of this new government and will follow it critically on this channel in the future. So I hope to welcome many of you on that new channel to get to know more about what is happening here where I'm living. You will find the link to this new channel and to my other channels, of course, in the link comments as soon as I posted them under this video. And I hope you visit me at my book reviews as well, by the way. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.